What's up everyone, SuperaTom here, and boy oh boy, does our Gorou have a cute little fluffy tail.
How do you know?
And if you've already gone through his hangout event, you would have known that MiHoYo allowed us to actually test him out before he actually arrives. And from that, we've been able to discover interesting insights into this character, and not only that, the potential he has with future meta changes of Genshin Impact. And so, in this video, I want to look into the 5 things you would want to take notice of before Gorou arrives. With that, let's hop into our video. Number 1 is huge meta changes is coming, and as you're probably aware, it's going to be time for Geo character to shine. That's right, Geo Daddy. But wait, he's already got his time to shine. Now it's time for all Geo character to shine, and most notably, MiHoYo have done this especially on Gorou as a starting point. If you've already seen, then the trend we're having with all Geo characters moving forward, or at least for a number of these new Geo characters, they're all having scaling based on defense. And if you've already seen Gorou's set, then literally every skill that he has something to do with defense scaling stats. From providing defense bonuses to your whole team to having attack scaling based on his defense stats. Heck, even the new artifacts domain have a new artifact for Geo characters that enhances their defense. So it's safe to say that in the long run, Geo characters are most likely all going to be scaling with defense. And also for Gorou, he's going to be a character that fully benefits off of defense artifacts. So there you go, no longer will there be days when you groaned about how crappy your artifact stats have been because you've just got defense artifacts. Number 2, Geo Bennett, quote unquote. So I've heard many of us starting to say how Gorou is actually becoming a Geo Bennett, which is not far from truth. He's going to be quite a niche character in that you won't be able to pull out the best of his ability unless you're running a team of at least 3 Geo characters that scales with defense stats. Because as his E skill shows, with 1 Geo character, when Gorou E skills is activated, you get a defense bonus. Now do note that Gorou himself is also counted as 1 Geo character, so this is also counted toward the defense bonus. With 2 Geo character, you get resistance to interruption, so character who uses Catalyst Lightning Wang would love this, and 3 Geo characters give you Geo damage bonus. And while if his E skills is not already good enough, his passive talent also give his burst the ability to grant all your party members a whopping 25% defense bonus. Not gonna lie, the amount of defense he's giving to your whole team is really insane. That is if we're considering him at C0. Now if we take a look into his constellation, that's where his support toward your Geo team is even more mind-breaking. C1 and C2 is only giving him more uptime for his E skills and bursts, but when it gets to C4 and C6 is what gives Gorou his ultimate support capabilities. C4 provides Gorou healing ability during his burst. The active character will be healed by 50% of Gorou's defense every 1.5 seconds. Considering the lack of healer in Geo characters at this point in time, apart from Noelle who would demand to be a DPS if you want to heal your team, Gorou with access to healing has just made something so much easier for mono Geo team. That's not all. If you get him to C6, which considering he's a 4-star character, so you will most likely at some point, he's basically providing you an extra 40% crit damage during burst to Geo element when running with at least 3 Geo character in your team. So he's not only boosting your team attack by providing defense bonus, considering most Geo character now scales with defense, but he also gives you healing and gives you crit damage bonus, which just goes to show how good he is at his position as a Geo support. Now, speaking of defense artifacts, instead of throwing away your defense artifact like you used to, now those of you who love Geo characters are going to have a hell of a time begging for defense stats on your artifacts. Simply because if you're building Gorou and Geo teams specifically, they're if not or mostly are going to go with new opulent artifact sets. We've seen that Gorou was running Noblesse Oblige in the character demo, which does work for him. However, most likely you'll be going with the opulent dream set because of the defense boost it gives. And since future characters of Geo are also scaling with defense, you'll most likely be going with the same artifact set as well. So reusing each other artifact piece would be hard. Therefore, you'll be sitting in that domain for quite some time, hoping you get good defense artifact stats. So if you're planning on the Geo comp, I recommend you start farming for the set now, especially when there's been rumor going on about the domain being RNG rigged by MiHoYo, as most of the time you're getting clamp set instead of opulent dream, though I'm not confirming anything, it's just, you know, something I've heard from many of those who have been farming for the artifact sets. Well, it's going to be for you to test it out. Now, number 4, about Gorou's energy recharge. Gorou supports demands a lot of energy as his burst requires 80 energy. Now, not surprising considering he'll be known as a Geo Bennett. Well, if you haven't already noticed, particles generated from his E skills isn't a lot. 2 particles from what I'm seeing, that's why he was holding Favonia's Warbow in the demo. However, considering he's mostly going to be running in a Geo team, this might not be too much of a big deal, but still we'll need to test out how much ER he will need because he does depends a lot on having high burst uptime. Just something for you to keep in mind because Bennett normally requires around 200 energy recharge for him to be consistent. So weapon like Favonia's bow and Sack bow that gives ER might be his BIS from now on, considering the fact that there's no defense bow at this point in time, or at least from my memory. And number 5, if you're pulling for Gorou, you might want to consider farming for him from now, because even though it's not official yet, my guess and prediction is that he will most likely require materials like Sangonomia Pearl, and you know what these things are? Yes, Spectral materials. Those annoying mobs that the only thing they know is to do is run away from you and spit water bubble at you from far away, just like our bow characters are hitting holy throws on their head from miles away. Well, I guess I can't really complain since I'm also the one who's doing it. But speaking of Sangonomia Pearl, they're quite rare. You can only get a maximum of around 40 each run, and you need around 160 of the Pearl for max level Gorou. So you want to start farming them from now. And Spectral Material 2 is going to be worth farming from now as well because they can be pretty grindy at times. Also, he will most likely require Philosophy of Light. If you got Bow before, then you might already have some spares, but if you don't, then it's worth it to start going for it. And so, through this, we've seen that Gorou is going to provide a lot of new potential for new Mono Geo teams. However, since we've only been able to test him out in the demo, it's still a question of how important and if he's going to be a must across Geo teams, or if he's able to have any good synergy with other characters apart from Geo. And so, that's everything for today's video. Now, I hope you enjoyed and found it helpful, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more of my upcoming YouTube content. And also, I stream mostly on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday, so if you're interested, be sure to follow me on that and come hang out. And with that, this is Tom wishing everyone a super day.